Something big just dropped, and honestly, I didn't see it coming this fast. The Chargers have made some unexpected moves, and it's already shaking things up. We've got a new edge rusher signing, surprising practice squad changes, and questions building around what this means for the rest of the season. This one, you're going to want to hear. Before we dive into the full story, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss breaking Chargers updates. Now, let's get into the latest news. Alright, so here's what's happening. Right after dropping my last video, boom, more breaking news hit. The Chargers just signed a new edge rusher and made some quiet but important roster adjustments on the practice squad. I had a feeling something was brewing, but I didn't expect it to happen this quick. Here's what we know: Josh Kenberger, the undrafted free agent who actually showed solid potential, has been signed back to the roster. Meanwhile, Jalen Reagor has officially joined the practice squad, and that move raises some eyebrows. You might be wondering, why Reagor? Most likely, it's a special teams play. With Darius Davis still uncertain and not on injured reserve, the Chargers might be keeping their options open for punt returns or depth at wide receiver. Whether he gets elevated this week or not, that's something to watch closely. And one more interesting note: Berger looked solid at center when given the chance. Which makes you wonder, what's going on with Bozeman? And why haven't the Chargers taken a deeper look at Andre James yet? We'll talk about that next when we break down the offensive line situation. Stay with me, this story is just getting started. The Chargers made a few eyebrow-raising decisions this week, and one of them might surprise you. Michael Dunn has been released, and that instantly raises a question: why now? It feels like the coaching staff is shifting priorities on the offensive line. Maybe they realized they don't need another guard, what they really need is depth at center. Because let's be honest, if Bradley Bozeman goes down, who steps in? The likely backup would be Zion Johnson, but that's far from ideal. With all the injuries stacking up, having another true center just makes sense. Another move: Mwaga was also let go from the practice squad. He's been more of a special teams guy, so that one wasn't shocking. Still, it shows the team's trying to shuffle things around to fill immediate needs. Now here's the part that really gets people talking. Dunn is gone, yet they added Jalen Reagor, another wide receiver. Was that really necessary? It's possible this is a special teams move, but honestly, wide receiver depth wasn't the problem. Center play was. And speaking of that, Bozeman's numbers tell the story: a 49.5 grade, ranking near the bottom among centers. Greg Roman keeps praising him publicly, but on the field, the results haven't matched the praise. Zion Johnson's performance has been just average, and Mekhi Becton hasn't been healthy enough to make a real impact. All signs point to one thing: more changes are coming on the offensive line. We might not see a blockbuster trade for a top tackle, but expect adjustments soon. The Chargers know they can't protect Justin Herbert like this for much longer. Stay with me, the next part is where things start to get really interesting. Let's be real, the Chargers aren't about to pull off any blockbuster trades for a top tackle mid-season. That's just not how things work right now. What they will do, though, is look for solid depth, a swing tackle who can step in when needed and hold his ground. You know how this team operates. They'll dig for value, the kind of under-the-radar players who can come in and compete right away. Remember Austin DeCoulis? The Chargers grabbed him with a 7th-round pick back in 2027, a low-cost move that added real depth. Expect more of that same kind of quiet but smart hustle behind the scenes. Now here's where it gets interesting: the Chargers have officially signed Odafe Oweh, the edge rusher from the Ravens. That's a big one. I dug into the numbers, and it looks like this is the final year of his contract. His cap hit was around $9 million, and from what it seems, the Chargers are taking on a portion of that salary. Right now, the team has roughly $10 million in cap space left, not much breathing room, but just enough to make this kind of move possible. It's a bold play, and it signals something: they're not done retooling this roster. But the real question is, why an edge rusher? The Chargers already have some names there, but Caleb Murphy, for example, struggled badly in that last matchup against the Commanders. He just couldn't get the pressure going. That's probably what pushed this decision. So yes, this move wasn't about luxury, it was about necessity. And it tells us a lot about how this coaching staff views their defense right now. Stay with me, because the next part explains exactly what this signing means for the Chargers' pass rush going forward. Caleb Murphy had a rough outing last game, there's no sugarcoating it. The Commanders ran right at him over and over again, and he simply couldn't hold the edge. He's got effort, no doubt, but at around 250 pounds, he was getting moved off his spot far too easily. And in the NFL, that's a problem. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone loves the highlight sacks, the big plays, the crowd eruptions. But defense starts with control. You can't let teams run to your side all game long. And that's exactly where the new signing, Odafe Oweh, changes things. This guy is built different, strong, explosive, and physical enough to anchor that side of the field. He's not just about sacks, though he did notch 10 last season. He brings size and power, the kind that forces offenses to think twice before running his direction. The Chargers brought him in on a one-year deal, and honestly, it's a smart move. It gives both sides something to prove. For Oweh, it's a chance to earn a long-term spot and show what he can do in a system that fits his style. For the Chargers, it's immediate help in one of their biggest areas of weakness. And there's more, Oweh already knows how this defensive system operates. That's a huge advantage. No long adjustment period, no confusion, just plug in and play. This could quietly turn out to be one of the smartest moves the Chargers make all season. Stay with me, because up next, we'll break down exactly how Oweh's presence could shift the balance on this defense moving forward. It's actually not hard to see why this move makes sense for both sides. Oweh might have been ready for a fresh start, and the Chargers give him that chance with a team that's still fighting. Meanwhile, the Ravens? Their season's basically fallen apart. Injuries have piled up, the offense has stalled, and it's tough to see them climbing out of that hole. So, instead of letting talent sit wasted, Baltimore gets value back, and the Chargers take a calculated swing. Here's what went down. Los Angeles traded safety Alohi Gilman, who didn't get his fifth-year option, along with a 2026 fifth-round pick. In return, they landed edge rusher Odafe Oweh and a 2027 seventh-round pick. At first glance, it might seem like a small deal. But look closer, this could be a quiet steal. Oweh is a difference-maker off the edge, and he's joining a defense that desperately needs fresh energy. With Khalil Mack's status still uncertain after that brutal-looking injury, adding Oweh brings strength, speed, and depth in one move. This isn't about stacking stars, it's about survival. The Chargers know that every game from here on out counts. The Dolphins' matchup is looming, and that's one they can't afford to drop. Bringing in Oweh could be the key to tightening the run defense and keeping quarterbacks uncomfortable. Sometimes the smartest moves aren't flashy, they're the ones that keep your season alive. And this one? It might just do that. Stay with me. The next part dives into how this trade could reshape the Chargers' defensive identity heading into the next few weeks. Now, let's be honest, the Chargers still have a major issue to solve, and it's on the offensive side of the ball. We can celebrate the defensive upgrades all we want, but if the offense keeps stalling, it's going to hold this team back. Hopefully, we'll see more moves coming soon to balance things out. Now, about the Alohi Gilman trade, it actually makes sense when you look closer. Gilman's a solid player, but he wasn't likely to be re-signed anyway. The safety room is already crowded, and some of the younger guys have been flashing real potential. R.J. Mickens has impressed everyone since stepping in, the coaching staff clearly believes in him. Tony Jefferson has been steady and consistent, outplaying expectations. Derwin James, of course, remains the anchor, and the team still sees long-term value in Kendall Williamson. When you've got that kind of depth, someone has to become the odd man out. So, moving Gilman wasn't just a reaction, it was strategy. The Chargers traded a player they were likely to lose in the offseason for an edge rusher who can make an impact right now. It's a short-term gain without much long-term cost. Yes, they gave up a future 5th-round pick, but that's a price you can recover easily through free agency or compensatory picks down the line. And speaking of next year, things are lining up nicely. The Chargers are projected to have serious spending power, with over $110 million in cap space. That's a game changer. It means this offseason could bring some bold moves, maybe even a complete roster reset around Justin Herbert. But for now, it's all about surviving this stretch, and Oweh could play a key role in keeping the defense stable while the offense finds its rhythm again. Stay with me, because next, we'll take a quick look at Oweh's numbers and what they tell us about the kind of impact he can bring to Los Angeles. Alright, so let's talk about Odafe Oweh, because this dude can flat out play. Last season, he quietly stacked up 10 sacks, showing exactly why teams still see huge potential in him. What makes Oweh special isn't just the numbers, it's the way he creates chaos. His burst off the line, the way he bends around the edge, and how he uses his length to disrupt plays, it all jumps off the tape. Now, if we zoom out a bit, across his career, Oweh has totaled 23 sacks. That's not superstar territory yet, but it's consistent growth every year. And considering his age and athletic upside, he's nowhere near his ceiling. The best part? The Chargers might have landed him at the perfect time, before his value explodes. Financially, this was smart business too. He's still on a manageable deal, which means Los Angeles gets a legitimate edge rusher without tying up major cap space. With over $110 million projected for next year, this move gives the front office flexibility, maybe even room to build a deep rotation around him. Imagine pairing him with a healthy Khalil Mack and a re-energized defensive line. That's trouble for any offense. Now, let's be real, Oweh isn't a magic fix. The Chargers still need help on the offensive line and consistency at linebacker. But what he does bring is something they've been missing lately: stability on the edge. Someone who can set the boundary, contain mobile quarterbacks, and force plays back inside. That's huge. So overall, this move makes sense, it's calculated, it's timely, and it shows the front office isn't waiting around. They're trying to stop the bleeding now before it's too late. What happens next depends on how quickly Oweh adjusts, but one thing's clear: this defense just got faster, tougher, and hungrier. And if this is the start of a bigger plan, the Chargers might be building something special again.